Hard work makes the dream work. Welcome back to Student Stories, brought to you by Voicelab. This is where we sit down with some of the brilliant students of our campus and dive into their journeys, how they're chasing their goals, overcoming challenges, and making things happen. In this episode, we're excited to have Natalie with us. She's passionate about modeling and photography and is already working as a freelance model, all while juggling her studies. Today we'll be talking about her experiences, the challenges she's faced, and as well as what drives her to keep going. So anyways, welcome to the show, Natalie.
Thank you so much.
To start things off, could you give a short introduction about yourself? Like, what courses are you currently doing and what are your passions?
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. I am turning 23 next week. So I was born and raised in Kuching, Sarawak. I actually moved states here when I was 18 years old to pursue my diploma in communication and media. I later graduated that with a distinction. And so, fast forward to now, I am officially a final year student in the program Bachelor of Communication in Media Production with honor. So as for my passions, I would say that I have a lot. I love films and movies. I love learning about beauty and fashion, as well as writing. I like reading about mental health and psychology. I think I have a lot of different interests that I would love to explore.
So are most of your passions like hobbies, or are there any of your passions that you're working on now professionally?
I will say that because I am a freelance model, I do take on a few jobs here and there when I'm free, but most of the time I'm focused more on my studies in media production. Actually, just last week, I shot a social media video content with Gamuda Garden. And later on today, I have class after this podcast interview. I have to shoot another podcast later on this evening for an assignment. Right, so tomorrow I have my facial appointment. Yeah.
Every journey has a starting point. So what inspired you to get into modeling? Was there any specific moment in your life that made you realize that, oh, this is what I wanted to do?
So in March 2020, I had actually undergone, because I have scoliosis for a huge part of my life, and I had actually undergone a posterior fusion scoliosis surgery. And so after that, I was bedridden for about a week. And pretty much after that, when I went home, I had to heal, let my body heal for at least 6 weeks. 6 months. And that's what the doctor advised. But actually, it took longer than that because I still get back pain here and there nowadays. During that period of time when I was healing, I was actually really, really chubby. And I hadn't learned about, makeup and hair and, just how to style myself. I had to really learn a lot of things by myself. And it was also during the pandemic that I studied my diploma. And so, it was just online classes here and there. And I was stuck in this small bedroom at school, the school hostel. And so I guess you could say that I'm a bit of a late bloomer because of the way that I look and the way I was very unhealthy, and I was constantly binge eating because no one was around to look at me and judge my lifestyle at the time. And also because I gave myself excuses to not exercise, even though at some point I could have done that already. But yeah, sometimes it still hurts my body to lift heavy weight. And so I think it was in September 2021 that I started modeling. A local photographer actually reached out to me, and yeah, we did a collaboration, and I thought that it was really fun because it was a great way to express myself. And even though back then I was still very diffident in the way that I looked and the way that I presented myself, I wasn't quite satisfied yet. I will say that that was a starting point that I'm quite proud of, because even though I wasn't ready at the time and I was quite fearful of how people would, perceive me, I think that, that was just how I started my modeling journey. Yeah.
All right. Also, furthermore, we also found out that you have a strong interest in photography and as well as filmmaking.
Yeah.
Does that connect with your passion for modeling? Or is that also a reason why you decided to do media production?
For me, I do prefer to let myself try both being in front of the camera and also behind. So the way that I see it is that when I'm modeling, right, it's more of like a feminine thing in a way, and that would later translate into the way that I pose, my body language, as well as my facial expressions. And when I'm making films and I'm directing this and that, it's more like a masculine kind of like activity for me, because I'm more assertive and I'm more firm in that way. So I think that I wouldn't really want to force myself to choose either one, but I do think that I enjoy both. Yeah.
So in different creative works that you do, you're able to express yourself differently. So like with modeling, you're able to express one side of yourself. Filmmaking, it's able to express another side.
Yeah.
All right. Also, while pursuing modeling, while studying must obviously be quite tough, were there any challenges that you faced along the way? Did you have any support from your family, friends, or did you have any mentors that helped you?
I would say that I'd like to thank my parents and also my godparents for supporting me financially. But at the same time, they actually didn't really believe in me when I started, all of this, including my tertiary education, as well as wanting to put myself out there to try and do modeling. And so I had to really convince them, and I had to show them through my actions that I was serious about this and that, there could be a future for me. And so I had to really prove myself to them so that they would accept this and really, provide me some monetary value so that I can continue to go on this journey, right? And also the fact that they didn't really want to believe in me at first. But if they're watching this, I would like to thank them because they taught me the value of money, integrity, as well as hard work. They did not spoil me like a brat. I had to, I had to really change my personality. I developed a go-getter attitude so that I could really get the things that I wanted, because they didn't want to give it to me directly, right? So I had to do a lot of things from scratch.
So you sort of had to pave your own way into this industry.
Yeah, kind of like a self-made girl.
All right. We also noticed that in your social medias, feminism is a very strong theme. So has that influenced the way you approach modeling? And do you think it plays a role in your confidence and independence in this industry?
I don't know. I mean, most of the time when I post, I actually just write what comes to mind. I wouldn't say that I really force the idea of feminism in those, but I guess I do uphold this value within me. And this has really taught me to let myself shine bright and make space for my own talent to be nurtured, and also to not dim myself, dim my own light, to make other people feel more comfortable, right? Because I think that having this value of feminism also taught me to really know my worth. And if I think that I'm not being compensated well enough for any job that I take, either commercials, for social media, or just photo shoot, then I should speak up and really negotiate like my life depends on it. Because in this industry, if you don't ask for it, you might not receive the thing that you want. You have to just shoot for the stars and, hope you land somewhere there.
So the modeling world can be tough, as you've said. So whether it's dealing about body image pressure or strict diet expectations, or as well as the competitiveness of your industry, or even something as important as your income, what has been some of the biggest obstacles you faced when entering the industry?
I would say trust. Trust is a hard thing to come by. Trust, you have to earn it from that person. Not just in this industry, but in general. A lot of people would have ulterior motives and bad intentions at heart. And they would kind of show that through some red flags. And so you have to really just stay sharp and discern these people critically and to not just judge them by how they look, because they could look sweet, they could be nice to you, but behind you, they could be doing other stuff, they could be speaking ill of you. Also, I wanted to share how, in this industry, I've seen men who wear suit and tie be really perverse towards people, like very lustful towards women. And just overall, during the job that we take, they would make us feel uncomfortable. And it's really a hard thing because you don't want to offend them. And they do hold a certain, power or authority. And they're the ones who are kind of giving you this job, even though you are the one who's working. So yeah, it does make things harder. But not just men, I've also seen these women who would look very polished. They look really nice. Sometimes they will act nice to you. They would talk in a really sweet tone, right? And they will wear makeup and have these really fancy hairstyles. But some of them are also greedy to a point where they will exploit you if you let them. And so I think that from this industry, I really learned to not be too nice and not be too gullible, to not be too trustworthy, and to learn to really understand what they want from you and what they can give, so that I would then offer my service to them. Yeah.
So you would say that being in the industry sort of made you have a backbone, where you won't let people push you around?
Oh yeah, totally. I think that it's so important to just trust your instincts and to not ignore your gut feeling. If you feel like something is wrong, this person isn't acting right, you should act accordingly. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but at least I'll be safe. Regarding
this, if you're comfortable with sharing, was there any untoward situations that you faced while, let's say, doing a project for work?
Oh yeah, I do. Okay, so I think I'm going to share two of them. One would be involving this male photographer. There are a few articles about him, I think. He goes by the username on Instagram. This is deleted now, by the way, because he was caught. But his username was called Oni-chan. And so if you know what Oni-chan means, it actually is so weird, because why would you want to call yourself that? So for your information, he is Muslim, right? He is a Malay. And I think I worked with him 4 times, and all of them were non-paid photo shoots, by the way. But I'll talk about this later on, because I was still building myself up. But yeah, there was this one time, it was the last time that I did a photo shoot with him, because of his behavior towards me. He didn't really do much at the time, but it was kind of this social media video content that we were filming for a restaurant. I'm not gonna name the name, but yeah. he was acting really suspicious. He was getting really like off camera. We finished filming, and so off camera he was starting to get really close to me. I felt like it was really weird because we were trying to finish the meals that they had provided us, right? And he wanted to take a selfie with me, and so I agreed. But he was getting really close to me, and that was making me really uncomfortable. And so after that, before I went home, he said that he was going to send me the photos and the videos and such. But I told myself that was the last time I was going to work with him, because not only do I feel like he was constantly taking advantage of me as like a newbie model at the time, but he was being really weird. And so I just told myself that this is not worth it. I'm not going to do any collaborations with him anymore unless I do have someone with me. Usually for my photo shoots, I do have either my sister or my mother with me. But at that time, that was like the one time that I didn't have anyone to accompany me, which is why I guess he was acting that way, right? So I think a few months after that, early 2024, my sister sent me an article. It was about him harassing and sexually assaulting multiple models. I think the number got up to like 30. Oh wait, no, I think it was like 50. Yeah, it was like really bad. I didn't really like confess to the girl who actually, and props to her because like she exposed him and she shared her story. It was really sad because of the way that he assaulted her. But yeah, I didn't really confess anything to her at the time because I felt like I didn't really have that big of a story. It wasn't like that serious. He didn't do anything to me. He didn't really like touch me physically or sexually. But yeah, it was just crazy the way that it all went down. And after that, his account went MIA, and I pretty much can't find him anywhere now. So yeah, he was on like a few newspaper articles. And so yeah, you guys can search it up. He's from Kuching, Sarawak. So yeah. Another story that I would share is last year in May, I joined a competition called ISMC. Basically stands for International Supermodel Malaysia Contest. It was a competition that originated from China. And so, they were holding this contest in different other countries. Long story short, because it was going on from May to around September/October. Basically, the marketing officer, she took advantage of this opportunity and she took all the money away. Well, not all, but a lot of them, because being one of the finalists, one of 49, all of us have to pay 1,400 just to join this contest. And so it was a lot. And basically, I don't really understand what happened at the time because I was studying and I was away. And so I hadn't really like got in on the conversation at the time when the thing got exposed because I was in Thailand traveling. But yeah, basically what happened was that she signed too many contracts and they were unable to financially give that amount of money. And so even though she was advised not to sign those contracts to work with these brands, she just went ahead. And so that just shows how selfish she is. And there were a lot of different things that happened as well, but that's basically the huge thing that made this whole contest fall apart. the majority of us from the 49 contestants, we ended up not just going ahead with the contest anymore. So yeah, we forfeited and we wanted to cut off the contract with the company because they had actually changed the terms and conditions after this incident had happened. But it was to their favor and not really to ours. They weren't going to refund, but yeah, they were going to hold the contest at a club instead. So yeah, I think that's probably like a huge reason why me and half of the contestants just decided to not go ahead with the contest anymore. Yeah, also because it kept postponing and it really affected our schedule.
So they weren't upfront about all the details that was going on.
I think some of them knew about this thing and decided not to tell us yet. But some of them didn't. They weren't really aware of this. But yeah, they were hiding stuff from us. And it was only later on that we found out about this. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us. Moving on, since you've been modeling for quite a while now, how do people around you, like your friends or outsiders, when you tell them you do modeling, perceive this industry? Are there any stereotypes that they use and any of the stereotypes that you would like to personally clear up?
Obviously, not all that glitters is gold. From what I've said just now, just because you see these pictures that are really glammed up, and I would look good in these photos, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to have like hair and makeup done 24/7, right? And also these officers and just people with big names who look really refined, they could have a really bad character because of the things that they do, the way they treat people, and also how they handle the job. I guess one of the stereotypes that I face is that people think that because of the way I look and also the way that I do present myself on social media, they think that I'm this diva or like mean girl. But I mean, people have their own perception and you can't really control it. But I know who I am and I do stay true to myself. And that's all I can do, really. And so that's something that I do face, but I don't really want to handle it because I think what's best is that I just keep it pushing and just keep minding my own business. That's how I see this issue.
Have you had any big achievements in your modeling career? And does that any of that tie into your university scholarship?
I mean, I was one of the finalists for ISMC 2024. I don't know if that counts. I do think that I have around like 4 years of modeling experiences under my belt. But I also think that I have a long way to go and I still have a lot of things to learn in this industry regarding people and things and just the way that things work in the world, right?
So looking back, what are some of the most important lessons you've learned through modeling? Like, have these experiences shaped who you are outside as well?
So for modeling, because I started in around September 2021, I can remember. I actually started that as an interest and it later became a hobby. Then now it has become one of my passions and also side hustle because I've persevered in doing this thing, this quite unconventional path that I've took that not a lot of people would agree on, including my parents. I think it really taught me resilience and to not give up.
So if you were to go back to when you were first going to start modeling, what would you give your previous self advice?
The key thing to know is to know your worth And because at the time I was still starting out, and so I agreed to do quite a number of, non-paid collaborations of photo shoots here and there, including social media video content. I think I was quite scared to speak up because I felt like I had no credibility, and I thought that, but I also had this mindset that I had to build my portfolio, and so I was kind of looking at these photo shoots as free photo shoots for me to build my portfolio. So I was okay with that at first, but I think at some point I actually could have just rejected them, or just asked for compensation, because it is a form of respect. Another advice that I would give to myself is to just stay sharp and be able to think critically about any situations that I'm in. Sometimes, even though there's an opportunity that I'm interested in that comes up, it doesn't mean that I must take it. I have to really think long term about the benefit or harm that thing could bring to me. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So before we wrap up, what are some of the most important lessons you've learned when modeling? And do you have any advice that you would give to our anyone who would like to pursue modeling as well?
I think that if you're young, or if you think you're not young anymore, I think that if you have a dream and a goal, you should take a leap of faith and put yourself out there, because it is only through actions that we can know what we are good at. I think that if you want to start modeling, you shouldn't do it full time straight away. You can start small and just work your way up to that point where you feel like you are comfortable doing this financially full time. You shouldn't be afraid of failures, and of course there are going to be a lot of different small and big mistakes that you make here and there, but you shouldn't look at that as something that's going to stop you. You shouldn't let those hurdles hinder your growth and progress. The way that I view mistakes is that they can serve as these stepping stones to help me get to my milestone. And so if I just keep going, then I will achieve my goal at the end. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, for sharing your stories with us. So, Natalie, I'm sure a lot of people will find your talks quite inspiring, and we hope that you have the best in your future. As we always say here on Student Stories, hard work makes the dream work. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.